Hello, welcome to Gospel Recap once again. My name is Oluwaseyi Edward, and today we'll be doing a teaching on great leadership by Bishop David Oyedepo. Be blessed as you listen.
Great leaders end up as peasant workers because they cannot pay the price of what makes a leader. Wisdom is not a cheap commodity, it's the costliest commodity, but of greatest value. The costliest commodity and of greatest value. Let me share with you the story of two great people that have inspired me a lot. The one of them is Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin had only 2-year formal education. How many years? 2 years. Only 2-year formal education. And this young man was an apprentice in a printing shop. And so in those days, they used to give them money for food. This is your lunch money, go and eat. He would save the money for lunch today, lunch tomorrow, until it's enough to buy a book he has seen. So he will go fasting for knowledge. Fasting for what? So he was doing without lunch to buy books. Is that cheap? And suddenly, the lion in him began to rise. Today, Benjamin Franklin is a great name in American history. Benjamin Franklin founded the University of Pennsylvania, which is still rated number 15th university in the world as a 2008 rating. It was founded 1786. Benjamin Franklin developed himself to become a scientist. He founded the thunder arrestor science, engineering. He invented it. Thunder was killing people for free. He sat down and found a way of tapping that energy and earthing it. 2 years from education. You know how many years you have gone to school in your life? Benjamin Franklin founded a daily newspaper, a tabloid. Benjamin Franklin became one of the foremost American diplomats. He single-handedly negotiated the French government support for the revolution. I hope I'm speaking well in London. That was what empowered the American forces to win. Today, there's a Benjamin Franklin Day in America. There are only 365 or 360 days in a year. They gave a day to one man who died about 300 years ago. That is the treasure of wisdom. It is not common sense, it's a costly sense. Come and say costly. Wisdom is not common sense, it's costly sense, very costly sense. Benjamin Franklin read his way into greatness. He read his way into leadership. He wasn't waiting and wishing for it, he was working at it. How can someone with a 2-year formal education found a university that is still relevant today? From 1786, a lazy generation. We just lay by and waiting for things to happen. We are killed by pleasure. Think of Michael Faraday. How many have heard about Michael Faraday? Now I'm talking about these folks because they are believers. But they did not abuse the faith. Most of us are abusing the faith. I said, God, come and cook for me. Thank you, Jesus. Cook for me now. God, drive me to work. I don't feel like driving today. That's faith abuse. Michael Faraday was a lab. Now, let me tell you a story. He also had a 2-year formal education. I noted some of these things in my book, Winning Wisdom. Now, you see, Michael Faraday was also a printing apprentice. It was a booming business in their days, so people learned how to be a printer. So he was there. But every time scientists exhibited their experiment, in those days, they were going about not watching film and videos and movies like today. It was a knowledge era. Come and say knowledge era. Scientists will come in and exhibit their experiment. People pay to enter to watch. Michael Faraday was paying to enter. Small boy, what will he do with science? Now, there was this great physicist in his time. They call him Humphrey Davis. Humphrey Davis was a professor. And then Michael Faraday went to one of those exhibitions and took notes. Now, for him to take note with only 2 years of education, he must have equipped himself. To even understand the professor, he must have equipped himself. I mean, understand what I'm saying? Now, Michael Faraday binded the notes and sent it to this professor just to satisfy his printing and then all that, how much he enjoyed the lecture. So one time, a time came when the lab attendant of this professor left. And this man needed a lab attendant. Then he remembered a boy gave him a binded note of his lecture one time. He said this boy may be interested in being a lab attendant. So he rode on his horseback to trace the address. And he found Michael Faraday. Would you mind being my lab attendant? Oh, with all pleasure. So Michael Faraday was a lab attendant who grew to become a world-class physicist. Now, listen to me. In his lifetime, Humphrey David began to be envious of the intellectual capacity of Michael Faraday. In fact, his biographer said he was reasoning more logically than Humphrey Davis. Well, to cut the long story short, you know the story if you're in the sciences, how great a name Michael Faraday made for himself in the field of science. Michael Faraday was not only a believer, he was also a preacher. But sold out to an undying quest for knowledge, and so earned his place in history. And knowledge is the principal raw material for the making of wisdom. So, leaders are made of applied.
Watching this video, I have come to realize that wisdom is not a cheap commodity at all. I mean, it doesn't come easy. You know, for you to gain a certain level of wisdom or your mastery of a skill that you want to ascertain or you desire, now it means that you have to spend money, your time, and expand yourself during odd hours to be able to gain mastery of whatever wisdom or skills that you desire or require for success and finding your purpose. Now imagine a man like Benjamin Franklin, who worked in a newspaper firm in those days, having to save his lunch money that was given to him by the company that he works for, days, months at best, to be able to buy books. Books! Imagine, it is hard and rare for you to see children of this generation even venture into such things. You know, most of us will save our money to buy gadgets, clothes, subscription. Imagine you working for a company, they are giving you allowances. They're giving you 50k allowance in a month. They're giving you 100k allowance in a month. You will see us, Papa, that would even be squander money for, that would be chilling money for us. You understand? But for Benjamin Franklin, that was not so. And this man, have it in mind, he only had 2 years of learning experience, 2 years of educational experience before he transmuted his knowledge into power. Now, this man, for all the sacrifice he made, he was able to ascertain being a prime minister. He was able to be the first man to conduct a thunder a thunderstorm and grounder, which is the device that is planted in houses to take thunder and ground them. You know, as in those days, thunder kills people for free. He took it upon himself to create a device that grounds thunder whenever it strikes on houses and buildings in general. All these things only show you the length at which you have to go to become successful, to become a great leader. You know, you cannot be a great leader without being a great reader. You know, and Papa made some mentions about some other person, which is Michael Faraday. Papa also made mention of another great man in the name of Michael Faraday. We all know him too well. Michael Faraday is the godfather of electricity, and he invented light bulb. Every light bulb you see around you today, he was the brain behind it. Now, funny enough, like Benjamin Franklin, Michael Faraday also worked in a printing press, but he had a flair for science, and he used to pay his way to science exhibitions. Now, one of those days, he met a man in the name of Dr. Humphrey David. During his science exhibition, Michael Faraday was taking notes, and after the program, he sent the copy of his note to Dr. Humphrey David. And one of the days, Dr. Humphrey David was short staffed, needing a lab attendant. He remembered that there was a young man that gave him a note containing all his details about his experiment. And he took his horse and rode down to the community where Michael Faraday was and offered him the job. And that was how Michael Faraday started his journey on science. Not going to school to learn science, but just working as a lab attendant. And in his biography, it was stated that there was a point that Dr. Humphrey David became jealous of Michael Faraday's success when it comes to science. And it was also stated that Michael Faraday was even more advanced in reasoning when it comes to science than Dr. Humphrey David. Now, all this is to tell you that every journey, every wisdom, every knowledge, every success, you have to pay a price. You have to commit yourself because it's more than just zeal. Zeal can die at any time. You understand me? It's more than just zeal. You have to be committed, you have to be dogged, and you have to be able to make sacrifices for the knowledge, the success, and the wisdom that you desire. These two men were not only scientists, ambassadors, prime ministers, and philanthropists. They were also believers, and Michael Faraday was a preacher. Now, in my note here, I realized that knowledge is doing what you have discovered to be right. So your priorities determine your intelligence. Very true. Very, very true. Now, sometimes in schools, you see that people that are labeled not intelligent, and not, it's not as if maybe they don't have the capacity to assimilate or they don't have intellect, but their priorities are wrong, and this this helps them earn the label not intelligent or doesn't know anything. So your priorities would show you the level of your intelligence. You understand? It tells how intelligent you are. Now, if you truly have a quest for spiritual growth, then go for spiritual resources. This was one of the key things that struck me from Papa. And he also said, if you have a quest for breakthrough in business, go for materials that will help you actualize it. If you are not committed, if you're not a committed reader, you can never emerge a leader. Very powerful. Now, I realized that in the world of today, there is a false light beaming intensively on the world of today, and the devil is magnifying our situations and so many things, to us, and we have so much misplaced priority, and we forget on the most important things. If you watch so many motivational speakers, so many movies, so many informations out there today, you will find out that most of them are trying to make you understand that the little things are what counts the most. But what we consider as little things most times are not worth our effort, and we tend to trivialize the most minute and sometimes the most specific things that would get us faster to our destiny. And we focus on what is going on outside. You want to everybody's doing affiliate marketing, everybody's doing crypto, everybody's doing betting, everybody's doing skate, everybody's doing content creator. And before you know it, before you know it, you're not even in a place whereby you have a settled mind, or you have your own space to get creative, to read, to study. Hardly would you find youth these days that pick up a book just to read, and even read because they want to gain knowledge. Most of them, even when you find them reading, they are reading for reading's sake. They don't even know why they are reading. And this is a very huge problem in the day of now. We have to identify the key things that propel our success, and be committed to them, give our time to it, and I realize that most people these days, like marriage for instance, the reason why we have so much divorce is because most couples never pick up a book on marriage. They never attend a marriage seminar. They never even most people don't even believe in counseling, and they feel like it's a waste of money. What do you want to tell me that I do not already know? That is the cliche you see people telling you these days. People believe in, oh, I'm a man-made, self-made, and they forget that you learn from the other people's experience. You learn from patriarchs. You learn from people that have done and gone far before you, and they've gone before you. And these days, everybody just wants to walk away with what's on their head. Most parents, they raise children without even reading a book on how to raise a child. They just keep producing, producing. And so therefore we have a generation, a community, and a world with so much population that has little wisdom, little knowledge, and these days, most part, this is the era where most people make it by fluke. Most people they ascertain success by fluke. It's hard to find genuine people that paid the price for where they are today, and most people they cut corners to get to where they are. And it's a burden on our society, it's a burden on our nation, it's a burden on the world at large. And we have to do better as human beings. We have to start giving time and giving what's it called, our attention, to what matters the most important things in our life. Whatever you are trying to chase, whatever you're trying to attain, whatever you're trying to do, it is always wise to read on it. It's always wise to study on it. It's always wise to dedicate your time and yourself to it so that you get the best and you gain mastery of these things. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you. I'll see you on the next one.